sir. Harbor Cove versus Joseph Alleman.
Oh my God.
Good morning, Your Honor. Joe Horka appearing for Harbor Cove.
It's late.
I don't know who that is either. Joseph Alleman. I have no response. You have them checked in?
No, I do not.
We don't have them checked in. Would you like to proceed?
Your Honor, this is a subsequent hearing date. It's a non-payment of rent case, possession only. I'd be seeking a default judgment, please.
All right. Raise your right hand to be sworn. You solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right. You may proceed.
Your Honor, I've been presented with a ledger by my client that indicates the rent to retain is $1,718. The attorney records office has calculated statutory attorney fee and court costs $225 for a total balance of $1,943. My knowledge, the defendant does not serve in military, doesn't have a disability that would keep them from appearing here in court here today, and the property's been kept in reasonable repairing condition.
Judgment to the plaintiff by default for possession. Redemption amount is in the amount requested. Writ issue in 10 days. Thank you.
Thank you.
Valley Ranch versus Nidell Hamden. They're both on.
Just 13.
Good morning, Your Honor. Christopher Borkin for the plaintiff.
Morning, Your Honor. Nidell Hamden here.
All right, gentlemen, where are we on this case?
Your Honor, unfortunately, negotiations did break down with the extra term the defendant wanted to add into the agreement. I was not able to review that agreement. I understand it's in the court file. My signature on it is not valid. That was submitted without my permission. The term on there that is the issue is that the amount in escrow would be attributed solely to August. There is a balance remaining, Your Honor. $1,878, including court costs, is the amount owed to date. That is after the defendant claims that they paid July rent. There was an amount at issue here that is not resolved just by my client waiving late fees. I would request that the court would find no triable issue.
Mr. Hamden, what do you have to say?
All right, sir. So I have a dismissal case on this back in February. I think you have a copy of it, which is on page number 5 on your file I sent to the court.
Okay, what is your point?
Well, there's a dismissal on the case, so I don't know why we are in court again.
The case wasn't dismissed, and even to the extent that it might have been dismissed, it was dismissed without prejudice, so it can come back.
Okay, so my thing is, this is the whole case. My rent a month is $1,841 times 12. That's $2,292.
Sir, how much do you claim you owe?
I don't owe them any money, sir. The reason why they
Here's
have
what I'm gonna do. Give me a trial
sir,
date.
can I explain something? Can I explain
Give me a
something?
trial date. Well, let's do it soon because this is.
Well, the next week is our trial week. We can do Wednesday the 26th,
At what time? In person.
9 a.m.
Sir,
26. Non-jury trial on this matter will be set
I have
July
emergency, sir.
26th. Sir, do not interrupt me.
I have
July
an emer-
26, 2003, 9 a.m. That is in person.
All right, but I have an emergency. I cannot be at court at that day, sir.
I've set the trial date, sir. I've given you guys time. I had a final settlement conference. You guys were going to resolve it. You haven't. I've set the trial date.
All right,
26, 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. Thank you. Court calls the case of Jessica Ellenbogen versus Michael Rohane.
Ellis Friedman for the plaintiff.
As well as Natalie, is it Keniston?
Johnston.
They are not checked in. Would you like to proceed, Mr. Freeman?
Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do. My name is Ellis Friedman.
Go ahead.
I'm the attorney and authorized agent for the plaintiff in this matter. These parties were served by Judy Bell. They appeared in court last week, said they had receipts, were told to bring them to court and to send them to me. I have heard nothing from them. I have no explanation for their absence. I would ask for the possession judgment in the amount of $8,600 in rent, $190.70 in cost for a total of $8790.70. Writ to issue.
Judgment to the plaintiff. That is by default for possession. Redemption amount is in the amount requested with writ issue in 10 days.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good weekend.
You do the same, sir. Gwendra Meda versus Ephraim Jackson.
Good morning, sir. Gary Apps appearing on behalf of the plaintiff.
Yes, Ephraim is here.
This is a termination of tenancy case. And where are we on this?
Well, if I may, sir, since last hearing, I've learned some more stuff. I've never met my clients. It was just voices over the phone. Mr. Mehta apparently is an older gentleman, and his son or son-in-law has been trying to help me. And I thought I asked the right questions. They told me that the property was not certified, and they were simply asking the tenant to move out. This is not their first time evicting them. The court dismissed the case previously without prejudice, and I'm not 100% sure why, but they asked me to go in. At the last hearing, the defendant said he had a lease. Well, I know in Kalamazoo County, if a property is not certified, the courts will not allow the lease to go forward. So I never got a copy of any lease, so I did not attach one to the pleadings. But whatever lease there may have been, if the property is not certified the way my client believes it isn't, then I don't think the lease is valid. And I don't know if that's a reason for dismissal with your court or not, but we're simply seeking possession of the property based on the fact that the property is not certified. So any lease would have been avoidable at least, and probably void under today's conditions.
Well, and Mr. Jackson, what do you have to say to this?
I do. We've been here to the court multiple times, so So the last time that we was here, I had to get a ledger balance and a contact Hawk. So I did all of that, but he never contacted me back about anything. And I do have the lease, and I don't remember last court date. He even gave me last court session or court case, he even gave me a copy of the lease. The lease ends and it ends in October. So I don't know what.
All right, let me just ask this: has rent been paid?
I've tried to. That's the thing. I've tried to.
What's the last month you paid rent?
November
of 2022.
Yeah, and we've tried to come, and we've been to court in, I think it was the last court date was a couple months ago, and I was about to get it paid by Hawk, but he never sent me a ledger balance. I tried to contact him. I kept calling him, and I left the messages.
Okay. Hold on. So, counsel, how do I know this property is not certified? Because I think this is a Pittsfield Township property.
Well, Your Honor, I've been a lawyer 32 years and a landlord 43 years. I called the township to ask them, was there a certification requirement? They told me it was. I'd be happy to swear to this, and that this property was not certified. So based on that, and my client's telling me there was no lease, and I took it meaning there was not a lease, period. They may have thought the lack of certification meant the lease was void. So I went ahead and filed for simply a termination with no request for any money. I did look up the prior case that was dismissed, I think was back in April, was also a termination, and they only paid a $55 filing fee. So there was no request for a supplemental complaint on the prior case either. So we're simply asking for possession with, again.
But counsel, what do I have? I understand your indication, but what do I have as proof that the property is not certified? I mean,
Outside
if
of
this
my-
is a Pittsfield Township property, which it looks by the address that it is, they will give you written verification that it's not certified and hasn't been inspected, but I don't have that before me.
I didn't know, okay, the first hearing was a week ago. I didn't know that was an issue, but I had called Pittsfield earlier. Had I realized I needed to submit something from Pittsfield, I would have done so. So I guess if that's going to be an issue, if the court would consider a brief.
Well, that's the basis, but that's the basis for your termination. What do you mean? Is it an issue? Your basis for the termination is that the lease is void or voidable and that there really is no lease because the property is not certified. But I don't have anything to say that it's not certified. I don't know.
Okay, again, if I may have an adjournment, I'll get a hold of Pittsfield. I'll get whatever documentation.
July
done.
28th, 2023, 9 a.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You said what date? I'm sorry.
28th, 1 week,
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Brian
sir.
Schumacher versus Ashley. Is it Bellick?
It is, Your Honor. David Bittner on behalf of the plaintiff.
Yes, sis.
Judge, this is
Miss
a
Bellick?
Yes.
Okay, she is set. Got her. Okay. All right. What's the claim on this case? This is a termination case.
determination case. There is no lease, Your Honor. She was there by permission for a period of time. She said 4 months. The property has been sold, and the elderly gentleman and his caretaker were to move in June 1st. She has drug her feet and will not leave, has threatened to take the appliances with her when she does.
Okay, can
Ms.
I speak
Bellick,
now?
what's your position on this?
This property was purchased for my mother by my stepfather, Brian Schumacher. Brian Schumacher never physically lived in this home. My mother told me that my son and I could stay here with her as long as I paid the rent and the utilities. She told me to let go of the rental home that I was in for 8 years, and because we could stay here. So I let my home go that I was in for 8 years because my mother said that we could stay here. There was no time limit ever given. And then Brian Schumacher and I do not get along. So when he found out that I was still here, he went and sold the property to his friend and showed up here saying I was trespassing and expects me and my son to be out on the street. So at this point, I've been searching for somewhere for us to move to. I would have never let go of the home I had for 8 years. We would have stayed there. My mother didn't tell me we could stay here. I mean, so I need some time to at least find somewhere for my son and I to go at this point.
Counsel, is there any room for any additional time?
No, Your Honor, the place has been sold. She was served personally by the sheriff, and they've been telling her.
The place is, Your Honor, the place is still in Brian Schumacher's name. It has not completely been sold. They have not put in the new person on the title yet. And I know that for a fact from my mother.
All right, well, here's what I'm gonna do. I don't find that there's a tribal issue. I'm gonna grant a judgment for possession. After hearing on this matter, the writ date would be the 31st. I will extend the writ date in this matter, given the circumstances, to August 7th. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm sorry, can you explain? I don't really understand what that means entirely.
That means you need, normally, if I were to grant the judgment, just outright, I would have given you 10 days to move because I don't
Okay, yes,
have
sir.
an issue to try in this case. And so instead of the 10 days, I'm extending it out a week, trying to balance it a little bit based upon your needs to move and the tenants, the landlord's desire to have the property.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Right? Thank you. Properties versus Elijah Hendrickson.
Good morning, Your Honor. Hugo J. Mack appearing on behalf of 762 Properties.
Elijah Hendrickson, present, Your Honor.
All right. And This is a health hazard.
Yes, Judge.
All right. And Mr. Hendrickson, what's your position on the health hazard?
I filed an answer, and
When?
with,
When did you file an answer?
yesterday.
I don't
Your
have an
Honor.
answer. What?
Yesterday, Your Honor.
Where did you file it?
I sent it in online and it's getting mailed out this morning.
Well,
I put it in the wrong file.
you
There you
got
go.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't. Mr. Mack, do you have a copy of the answer?
Yes, Your Honor. I received an email of it yesterday. I'd waive any notice issues on this matter, Your Honor. We certainly got this late yesterday.
Okay. The basis for the health hazard is what?
Your Honor, in my pleadings, you'll see a report from RNA, which is a property maintenance building maintenance company, where they tried to get in to deal with a roach bed bug infestation problem, and Mr. Hendrickson has repeatedly refused to allow access. When my process servers went to the home to knock on the door, there was never any answer. So, Your Honor, and then a real salient issue is there is no lease and this gentleman has paid no rent. So not only is there a health hazard, there's no lease and therefore he has no right to be there. So the health hazard.
That's not true. I don't know. How are you saying you got into the apartment then?
Your Honor, well, however he got into the apartment initially, I don't know. I wasn't representing my client at that time, but the bottom line is there is no lease now, and there simply is no basis for its continued being there.
Well, that's not true, because if he came in under any color of title, somebody said he could live there, whatever, then he has a tenancy by default. It might be a tenancy at will, but he's got a tenancy. This is filed as a health hazard. So, I mean, he's got to correct the health hazard to the extent it exists. Mr. Hendrickson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why won't you let them in?
I have let anybody in who has requested. They have not come to my property to deal with it. I have been assisted by another tenant in the complex who works as exterminator. He's treated my property several times. And the hazard was extant when I arrived at the unit. And I've been dealing with it since. I can provide witnesses to that fact.
Well, the landlord wants to treat the property. But are you letting him in, landlord, to treat the property?
I have no issue with that.
What, Mr. Mack, what day can they go in and treat the property?
Your Honor, I can consult with my client about that fairly quickly, but I need some clarification. My client informed me there is no lease, there is no agreement for this gentleman to be
Okay,
there.
you can keep saying that. You have to tell me how he got into the apartment then.
Your Honor, I would have to ask my client that. How he got in there was before I got involved in the case. At best, this is a month-to-month tenancy, Your Honor. So if the court is saying,
that's what I said about 10 minutes ago.
all right, so if we have to refile on the on the month-to-month with a 30-day notice to quit, we'll do that. But we just felt the health hazard was the more appropriate way to go about it because there is health hazard. And Your Honor, with all due respect to what Mr. Hendrickson is saying, there is a report the court has from a reputable extermination company that says they have not been allowed in. Mr. Hendrickson is giving gratuitous statements to the court about he's got this and that. I see nothing in writing, Judge. Okay. So.
Okay. And all I'm asking is, when can they go in?
Your Honor, I will,
All right, look, you guys
can
get
we,
all of this together. I'm going to adjourn this out 1 week. July 28th, 2023, 9 a.m. I need a date that they can go in and do the extermination because that's what's in front of me. Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you,
Your
Your
Honor.
Honor.
Court calls the case, Blue Heron Point Apartments versus Zachary Johnson.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Sorry, good morning, Your Honor. Mark Land on behalf of plaintiff. Wishful thinking.
So Ms. Johnson checked in.
Zachary Johnson, they're not here. Would you like to take a default?
Your Honor, I believe that I've reached a conditional dismissal with Mr. Johnson, and I did email it into the court.
I do. Okay, I see it. And will both signatures apparently being there, I'll indicate this case is conditionally dismissed. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Court calls the case of Valley Ranch Apartments versus Jalen Burrows.
Mark Land for the plaintiff.
Mr. Burrows?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I got you. Okay. How much is owing on this?
Current balance, Your Honor, is $11,563.76.
All right. And I think we were trying to, what do you have? Escrow at 8, 9, 4, 7. I mean, that's what I have. Well, I have 8. I have 8845. Yeah. You got to carry your 1.
8845.
Okay. So I have 8845 in escrow.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So the thing is, and this is a case, I know, Mr. Lando, you weren't here, but it was kind of, I guess, slow walking it for him to get to his, because he gets a commission check. Am I right, Mr. Burrows?
That's correct. Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah. And so he was putting his money in escrow as he was getting it, but I think there's going to be a larger payment come mid-month, or help me, Mr. Burrows.
Yeah. So I get paid on the 10th. Well, I get a weekly, but it's not much. So I get paid on my commission check every 10th of the month, unless that falls on a weekend. And that's where I can make, the more significant payment.
And we were trying to get ourselves, I think, to the August 10th payment. Is that right?
Yeah. I fell a bit short, but since we've last spoken, I've contacted Valley Ranch because I wanted to kind of just figure out a way to just get this all taken care of, at once, rather than having to keep doing this every week. But
Is that his way of saying he doesn't like to see me?
No, you're fine. You're great. But no, I was going to take like a hardship withdrawal.
Right.
With
I
my
remember
401k, and in order to receive that, I need, pretty much in writing that, this amount needs to be paid, otherwise, eviction, blah, blah, blah. But I never received that from Valley Ranch. I called them twice. Because they don't want me coming into the office because they think I'm confrontational. I know that's a surprise, but they never sent me what I needed. They told me they would have their attorney contact me. This was Wednesday, but I never heard anything. I actually called and left a voicemail, but haven't heard anything back. But I simply need pretty much just a document stating that, I have to pay this balance to avoid eviction.
All right, look, okay, I got you, Mr. Burrows. Mr. Landau, can we make that happen for him so he can try to get this withdrawal? Because he has done everything I've asked him to do that he could tell me he could do. We're 3108. It needs to be paid on the $11,000 balance. He comes in and pays the money. There is never an issue with that. He just has to get himself caught up. So
Yes. So the answer to your Honor's question is yes, I'm happy to work with Mr. Burrows. I'll be candid with the court. My client has really been pushing me towards the eviction end of things, but I know your Honor's disposition on this, and Mr. Burrows clearly has been making best efforts and paying a substantial amount of money into the escrow. So
absolutely.
I would request the following. I would request that the court release the escrow to the plaintiff forthwith.
Have a deal. No. We're not going to do it that way.
Oh,
they may want to evict him. He has come here the last, I think, 2 times, told me the same thing that he was telling me today, that he's willing to do what he needs to do. He gets his check, and he had to remind me it's a 10th of the month, and he puts his money in, and if they don't want to work with him, I'm not releasing anything till they work with him, give him the letter so he can get a hardship. That's the way I'm going to work. So you guys got 1 week to get that done. I'll adjourn this out 28th. You know my position, so you guys make it happen. If it doesn't happen, then I'll figure out something else for Mr. Burrows.
If I can make one
request, and you guys can come try to find it. July 28, 2023, 10 a.m.
Can I make one note for that? Please?
Doesn't want to see me again, but he's gonna have to.
Could I make one note for that document? I don't know if this is correct, if it could include this, but if it could have like the following month's rent on there as well.
The August
I can work
rent.
with you however you want, Mr. Burrows.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I can work with you however you want, Mr. Burrows. I've got your email address. I will follow up this afternoon with you. We will work together.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you.